We are Canadians who have not seen snow in 4 years.
Except for now.
It's snowing outside right now.
And I'm not happy.
Snowbirds Gary and Carol Cruz travel to the U.S. each year for 5 months at a time to escape the frigid Canadian winters.
We've stayed in every state east of the Mississippi in our motorhome.
The Cruzes are also huge Disney fans. They canceled plans for 2 trips this spring to Disney World and Disneyland after President Trump imposed 25% tariffs on Canadian goods, some of which have been briefly paused. The couple has traditionally spent more than $30,000 a year on U.S. vacations, but they're hitting the brakes.
We love our American friends, and we love your country. We have seen almost all of your country. This is really horrible. This is upsetting.
Trump has repeatedly called the Canadian Prime Minister governor and suggested making Canada the 51st state. He says Canada has been, quote, ripping off the United States.
We've never had an issue with any individual in the U.S., but we are furious and horribly insulted by the lack of respect and demeaning comments coming out of the Oval Office. It is like we've been gut punched by our best friend the last month. The way we shop is different. The way our stores look is different. We examine labels, and if something says made in the USA, it goes back on the shelf. We're voting with our wallets. We are shopping differently.
Instead of using their Disney World annual passes to return in April, Gary Cruz says he's picking up his RV in Florida and driving it home for who knows how long. They still haven't canceled their November trip to stay in the U.S. for the winter months. They hope by then that not only will tariffs be lifted, but that leaders come to a respectful understanding without unpredictable threats of more tariffs in the future.
We're healthy right now, but we don't have a long-term expectation of being able to continue what we're doing. That's the reality of getting old. I don't want it to end like this.
So to Canada, where the next Prime Minister says he won't back down in a trade war with the United States. The Liberal Party has chosen Mark Carney. You'll be familiar, of course, former Governor of the Central Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. He will replace Justin Trudeau as the Prime Minister in the coming days. He says he'll leave in place the retaliatory tariffs against the US. He told the party, in his words, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win. And he struck a similar tone. You remember, Mark Carney joined me the day he announced his candidacy.
We are the U.S.'s largest client. We import more than China, the U.K., France, Japan combined from the United States. We're the largest client of 35 of 50 U.S. states. So it's very important to come to a resolution on that. However, if the U.S. is going to change fundamentally the rules of the game, if they are going to rip up the trading agreement, which they have started to do, we've got a lot of strengths. We have other options. It will take some time to develop those, but we're resolute. We will pursue those and move in a direction.
Paula's with me. Paula in Ottawa. Paula, you know, it's tempting to sort of say, look, he's a political novice, never held office, and elected office. But the reality is he's done every crisis, financial crisis. He's sat at the top table. He's held the hands and guided the policy of the great financial crisis, of Brexit and all of these things. And he is as much of a politician to his core as anybody who's ever been elected.
Yeah, and perhaps more difficult, one would argue, because think about the halls of power that this man has actually been in. Exactly. I will caution, though, Richard, that as well as he's done in this Liberal leadership and the fact that the polls here in Canada have come up, it will be a very tough election. And before Mark Carney can do any of the tinkering, or perhaps more than that, with the Canadian economy, he must convince Canadians that he understands where they're coming from, their problems, and where they want their country and their economy to go. He has found an excellent companion in Donald Trump. It really gives him the nationalism, the profile, the platform that so many Canadians seem to be responding to right now. And he will continue to do that. And you made the excellent point, Richard. And I am so glad that you interviewed him on the first day of his candidacy. He can stand there and he can say, I have been there and I have done that. When I say I can deliver economically, I mean it.
Paula, the way he now moves forward is crucial, because he said he's going to have a general election, which he has to have a general election. He's chosen to have it sooner rather than later. He's not a member of parliament himself. If the election were held tomorrow, who would win?
The answer to that is we don't know. And why? Because at one point in time, the Liberals, can you imagine that on the day that Donald Trump was inaugurated, Richard, the Liberals had less than a 1% chance of winning in this election. Now, Justin Trudeau was still the leader, but they knew another leader would be elected. Now the chances have gone up to 37% and likely to go up further in the next few days. This is a real contest. I can't predict who's going to win, and I can tell you right now, no one in this country can. This is going to be a hard-fought election. One of the most important things coming up, Richard, that Canadians will be looking for is that first phone call with Donald Trump, how he handles himself. And you know Donald Trump will speak of that call right afterwards, whether he posted on Truth Social or whatever. And Canadians will be looking to see, is this the measure of a man that can stand up to Donald Trump and still make good deals for us going forward?
Paula, I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Canada has just elected a new leader who is going to be the new prime minister and replace Justin Trudeau. He came out swinging yesterday in his first remarks, specifically about these tariffs that they've been putting in place and the retaliatory nature of the tariffs.
America is not Canada. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win. And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
One, Trump might have helped him get elected because Liberals in Canada were not doing very well until this fight happened. But I thought that comment there at the end, my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect, was notable.
Well, I also went to my first hockey game on Friday, so a lot going on this weekend.
Trade weekend.
But I do wonder if President Trump is going to start calling Mark Carney, Governor Carney, the way he's been calling Trudeau, Governor Trudeau, alluding to the idea that it would be the 51st state. Look, I think that there's been this strategy of chaos all around, right? That we've said multiple times that for Trump, part of the idea is that the chaos is the point. I think when it comes to our closest allies, now that strategy of chaos, tariffs on again, off again, is that actually going to fly when you have a leader coming in that's willing to stand up?
Well, and to the point, as part of this, I mean, it's not just that he's putting the tariffs on, it's they're on, they're suspended, they're paused, he backs off of them, they're delayed. I mean, we have steel and aluminum tariffs presumably coming on Wednesday this week, 25%. That's the question here, is the uncertainty of all of this.
And I also think there's a question of pride here, right? Because if you look at the numbers, right, like Canada's economy is too small to go head to head with the American economy. Like Carney knows that. He's, you know, an economist, former bank governor. He knows that, like, at the end of the day, Canada can't compete. But at a certain point, national pride begins to intervene. And that's where I think there's a real danger of this spiraling out of control, because it's not a matter of dollars and cents. It's not a sort of just an algorithm that you can plug in and hope that the Canadians will back down if you're Trump. And I think that's where people really have to start worrying. I mean, just today, the Doug Ford in Ontario threatened to cut off electricity for close to 1 million American households. And you could say, like, why is Canada going to escalate if they're a smaller country? But their pride has been wounded. And we've seen throughout history, right, that when countries and countries' leaders feel backed into a corner, things can get very bad very quickly. And it's I mean, we're talking about Canada. It's like, is there a mass sense of unrest in the country that they want to target Canada? It's just an amazing time.
We'll find out. Jeff Stein, Dasha Burns, great to have you both on that.